Today, auspicious day, the disappearance day of Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj. In the morning, so many speakers had glorified him, and they had given Pushpanjali in the lotus feet. Some of remaining. So, first Vrndavan Vilasini will give Pushpanjali in the Guru.
First of all, I'd like to offer my heartfelt Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru, Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupad. And second of all, I'd like to offer my heartfelt Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my Diksha Guru, Srila Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, his glories are self-manifested. They're self-evident. How could I, as a conditioned soul, possibly glorify Srila Prabhupada? But because Srila Gurudev has ordered me to speak, and for my own purification, and also because it's the greatest joy in my life to glorify Srila Prabhupada, I'll try to glorify him. Srila Prabhupada is Sri Guru in all respects. And Srila Gurudev has explained who is Sri Guru. Sri Guru is Krishna Kripa Anandamurti. And as we see, Srila Prabhupada is really a special gift from Sri Krishna. He appeared on Nandosa, Krishna's birthday. So Krishna was giving him as a gift to the world, to all the fallen conditioned souls, a very special gift. Because Krishna, in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he had a special desire within his heart. Even there was a prediction that in every town and village, the holy name would be chanted. He wanted every jiva to be able to taste a little drop of Krishna prema. So So he sent one of his very special persons. He sent Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada came to this world. But he was very hidden most of his life. Not many people recognized who Srila Prabhupada was. Even he was misunderstood. But Srila Prabhupada, at the end of his life, we can see from his glorious activities how great was Srila Prabhupada. He was sent to do what we would call the mission impossible, to make the impossible possible. Srila Prabhupada himself would say, impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. So he himself, he set out to fulfill the order of his spiritual master, which is to spread Christian consciousness in the Western world, in the English-speaking language. It was a mission impossible. But he showed by his Guru Nishta. He took his Guru Nishta on his head with the help of the holy name. He boarded the Jaladuta all by himself. It appeared like he was all by himself, but of course he was not all by himself. But with no one with him, all by himself, he boarded the Jaladuta, keeping the order of his spiritual master on his head. He kept selfless, unmotivated devotional service to his Guru as his life and soul. Full faith in the holy name. And he boarded the Jaladuta and he crossed the Pacific Ocean. And he came to a land of complete, utter darkness. But Krishna, being his best friend, Krishna guided him. Krishna took him. You know, he had the very powerful personality with him, Krishna. So Krishna took him to Tompkins Square Park. And he chanted the holy name with pure devotion. He didn't have a fancy tune. He didn't have a fancy instrument. He wasn't a handsome young man. He appeared to be an old man singing just simple Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But because he actually had in his heart that love, that Krishna praying of a real Brajvasi. Srila Prabhupada is a Brajvasi of the highest order. He himself would say, we are Rupa Nuga. So that means he's coming. Krishna picked someone from the group of Sri Rupa. And who could be more powerful, who could be more appropriate to do the mission impossible than someone from the group of Sri Rupa? Because Sri Rupa, even there, they do, Sri Rupa herself does mission impossible. When Krishna is in the kunj of Sri Chandravali, Srimati's rival, he's been captured by Saitya and Padma, and he's in the kunj of Chandravali. Who goes there without any fear? Sri Rupa runs into the kunj and says, Krishna, Krishna, your pet bull is being attacked by a demon. You must come before this bull is destroyed. You must come immediately. And of course, Krishna, being the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika, runs out and runs to Srimati Radhika. So Srila Prabhupada, being Rupa Nuga, is obviously from the group of Sri Rupa. He can also do this kind of impossible feat there and here. So he is from the group that can do all these missions impossible. He was just chanting, and Prabhupada chanted and chanted his way around the world. He made a platform on which he danced. He danced, and it says in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavad that a personality of this caliber, their mere presence vanquishes all inauspiciousness in the world. Their dancing purifies the earth. Their upraised arms purify even the heavenly planets. Their glance purifies all directions. So Srila Prabhupada, just by his mere presence, he took Krishna consciousness, the flood of love of God, out of India. Lord Nityananda, he broke the dam of the love of Godhead. Remember it says in Nishai Gunamani, he broke the dam. But he took it all over Bengal, this Krishna praying. Time was the dam. Well, there was another dam. That was the limit of India, the borders of India. So now the time had come. Yoga Maya had made the time right in America. The hippies were there. Time was right. So Prabhupada was sent. It was perfect. He could do the mission impossible by just simply chanting on the holy name. So it gives us hope. We can see that if we take the instructions of our spiritual master into our heart, and and we make them our life and soul, and we take them on our head, and we simply chant Hare Krishna, then we can do anything. Look what Prabhupada empowered his dancing white elephants, his forest monkeys to do all over the world. One of my godbrothers had just come to the movement, and Prabhupada, after a few months, sent him to Hong Kong, all by himself. He opened a temple in Hong Kong, and that temple is still going on. We translated Chaitanya Charitamrita and published Chaitanya Charitamrita, what was it, in 1 month, 2 months? Very quick, along with this canto of Bhagavatam. And we distributed millions of books, millions of transcendental books all over the world by Prabhupada's mercy. Because Prabhupada taught us simple. He didn't make things very fancy, he made it very simple. You simply depend on your guru. Make your guru's instructions your life and soul. He will empower you. Try and be selfless. Try and be unmotivated like this. And then Guru will do everything. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. He made it very simple. And we tried our best. And look at what he did. Look, still now, how many of us, almost all of us, we're so grateful to Srila Prabhupada. If it hadn't been for Srila Prabhupada, where would we be? We'd still be in the gutter. Down deep in the gutter. But he came and he loved us. He loved us with that topmost kind of love, the love coming from the group of Sri Rupa, saturated with love and affection, with the desire. Vrndavan have this anurag, which is an unquenchable thirst to make Krishna happy. So by making Krishna happy, the whole world will become happy. So Prabhupada's made of this. He's not an ordinary person. He's an extraordinary person. He's made of this Vrndavan love and affection. And so he didn't have to do anything. We were automatically attracted to Prabhupada. As soon as one would meet Prabhupada, immediately one would feel, oh, I've come to a most amazing place. He brought Vrndavan with him. Unbelievable. As soon as I read Krishna book, I would say, oh, wow, I want to be a gopi. Who can understand? I didn't know what a gopi was. Prabhupada was so... When I met Srila Prabhupada for the first time, he was so merciful. He appeared... I met him in Portland, Oregon in 1972. As Srila Giridhari says, I was just a big hippie girl. And I didn't know anything. I liked to chant Hare Krishna, but I was just spaced out. And as soon as Prabhupada got off the plane, he gave so much. He was like way over on the other side. I was looking through a window at Srila Prabhupada, and all I could see was how effulgent he was. He didn't walk on the ground. And I could hear his heart telling my heart, I love you. I will never leave you. And I could feel my heart responding, oh, I love you. I will never leave you. First, on a meeting like this, what mercy, what love and affection. How we can leave Prabhupada. How we cannot want to do whatever he wants. To be so grateful is the only dakshin that the Guru wants, is gratitude. So out of gratitude, Prabhupada's disciples as pioneers, it was very difficult. It wasn't so easy. There was nothing. We were helping Prabhupada make a platform. The first devotees, all they did was chant Hare Krishna. There was no Mangalarti. There was no class. There was class with Srila Prabhupada if Srila Prabhupada was in your temple. But other than that, 24 hours practically, Nagar, Sankirtan, chanting the holy name in New York, Los Angeles, Montreal. But by the time I joined in 72, there was Mangalarti, there was a program. It was a little bit easier. And now there's programs all over the world. Prabhupada made the platform, so it's not so difficult for the fallen conditioned soul to take up bhakti. And on this platform that Srila Prabhupada made, now we're so fortunate that Prabhupada, even though in a short time he left us, he was called back by him to Jugal Kishore. The only very short time he came, he did his miracle, Mission Impossible accomplished, and he was about to leave. But before he left, he did the most kindness. He called to his side his very dear friend, Srila Giridhari, didn't he? And he took Srila Giridhari's hand. And first of all, He exhibited one of the topmost qualities of bhakti. In Jnana Dharma, we read there's 4 inherent qualities of bhakti. One is humility, one is forgiveness, one is compassion, and one is truth. So humility. Prabhupada showed the topmost humility. He asked Giridhari, please, can you tell my brothers to forgive me? I have done many things that I should not have done for preaching. But Gurudev assured him, no, for preaching, there was no fault. So, one cannot have a grudge against Prabhupada for taking the name Prabhupada, for using AC, for so many things that he did. We followed Janmashtami with a grain feast. We did not follow the Ekadasi on Janmashtami. We did, in one sense, he broke the rules and regulations to make the platform. But he asked for forgiveness at the end. We judged something at the end, not in the middle. So at the end, Prabhupada said, please forgive me. And then he took his hand and he said, please, please help my disciples. Please help them. So Prabhupada, he found his dear friend, Srila Narayan, with his love and affection. So Srila Narayan became our dear friend too. And now he's dancing on that platform all over the world, spreading more and more and more of his love and affection.
But I had a request that there are so many speakers, so they should finish their Pushpanjali within 10 to 12 minutes.
This morning I was in Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, and I was thinking, I was praying to Prabhupada. I was praying to Prabhupada to try and understand what he wanted to be said. And there's one thing that came to my mind. That Srila Prabhupada does not want to be separated from his sampradaya. This is an essential thing that we as disciples should understand. And in a sense, it's something that actually you can understand comes a little naturally. Because the Guru is self-effulgent, and he's your Guru. And he's everything to you. But we should understand that the glory of Sri Guru is coming from Krishna. And this is the line coming from Krishna. And this is a wonderful thing. And Prabhupada's glory is his position in our sampradaya. And in this relation, I was remembering a beautiful prayer that was composed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And it goes, Shri Gaurang Matam Swarupa Viditam Rupa Brajena Samanditam. Shri Gaurang Matam, what is the Anumatam, or the gift that Shri Gaur has brought? Swarupa Viditam, that is known by Swarupamta, which is adored
by Rupa Virajaya, which is adored by Sanatana Goswami. Rupa Gyaya Pariveshitam Prabhugunaya Ashradikam Sevitam, which is Pariveshitam. Pariveshitam means to serve. But in this sense, it's not like seva, but it's like serving prasad, serving food. So we can understand that the gift of Gora that Rupa is serving is food. Rupa Gyar Pariveshitam Prabhugunaya Ashram, that is tasted and served by Raghunath. Jiva Gyar Abhirakshitam Sukha Shiva Brahmani Samanditam, that is protected by Jiva Goswami and is worshipped by Shuka Shiva Brahma. And what is this? Shri Radha Pada Sevanam Ritam Tatat Aho Tatatum Ishobhaman. That means that this gift of Shri Gaur is Shri Radha Pada Sevanam Ritam. And this prayer was composed of Tadatum Ishobhaman. That means you hold the position to be able to give this to us. And this prayer was composed by Srila Sridhar Maharaj in relation to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And it was so much appreciated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupad. And so when I hear this prayer, I think of also Srila Prabhupada, how just like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he's compared to the Bhagirath, how he brought the dhara of Rupa Nuga Bhakti and he reintroduced it into the world. And so Srila Prabhupada, in the same way, he took this dhara, this stream of Braj Bhakti, and he introduced it into the world, just like a wave that spread all over the Western world. And just like a wave when it's going and it hits something and it comes back, so this wave has now come back to India, and we're standing right here. And in relation to the gift of Gaur, that I was thinking of this Swarupa Viditam, that this is known by Swarup Damodar. And one of I guess, of Swarup Damodar is this verse, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Rasman. And in this verse we understand, it's the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, which we understand that Radha is Krishna's Pranaya, Krishna's love. And she is his Ladini Shakti, and she's united, they are united in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Srila Prabhupada's Aradhi Devi. And Srila Prabhupada, because he held Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his heart, and the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is what he took. He exemplified this in the Western world. And he was able to preach this Cheto Darpan Marjanam. He was able to bring this Harinam Sankirtan and introduce Braj Bhakti all over. Like Vrndavan Vilasini was saying, we have the Radha Krishna temples all over the world. And they have purified the entire world. And we're all here, all the Westerners here, are proof of that. Srila Prabhupada's mercy in introducing Braj Bhakti to the West. We're so grateful to Srila Prabhupada. And so this is the gift of Gaur that Srila Prabhupada has brought. And so there are some people that say that Srila Prabhupada was able to do this because he was a great organizer or a good businessman. But, and that was true, that was very, very true. But Srila Prabhupada was able to make great sacrifices in order to preach this message of Gaur to the world. And he was also able to inspire this in us. There was recently a devotee told me something that happened in Delhi when Srila Prabhupada was there. He had just arrived and the devotees had brought a Mercedes-Benz to the airport to pick him up. And in so doing, they had brought this Mercedes-Benz all the way from the west, I think from Germany, with great expense and difficulty all the way on the land route to India. And they had this, and you know, they wanted to honor Prabhupada with something prestigious. And they wrecked it somehow. And Prabhupada was very, very stern about that. He was upset with it that they had wasted, you know, this very good car. Right? And they were having a kirtan. And in the middle of the kirtan, Srila Prabhupada stopped the kirtan. And he said, and he asked Tejas to see the account books. And so Tejas brought the account books to Srila Prabhupada. And usually Tejas gave 50% of all the accounting to the book fund. Every month, without fail, 50%. But that month he didn't do that. And he had only given 1/3. And so he said to Prabhupada, I'm sorry, we had so many devotees sick that really, frankly speaking, if I hadn't taken the money, the devotees wouldn't have been able to eat. And Tejas said, Prabhupada put his hand up like this, and he said, so, that was all. And they were shocked. But it was like this. Prabhupada was saying, so, there would have been enough. Prabhupada was demanding such a sacrifice from his disciples. Prabhupada himself was sacrificing so much, and he was demanding this sacrifice from his disciples. And because they loved Prabhupada, we loved Prabhupada, we were able to make the sacrifice. And the movement grew like it did because of that. This sacrifice of Srila Prabhupada is an expression of his Rupa Nuga Bhajan. And so then, this I wanted to speak about this verse speaks about Srila Prabhupada's relationship with serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the line of the Goswamis. We have Swarup Damodar, we have Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, just like Jiva Goswami protected the words of Srila Rupa Goswami in that way, and he protected the Ras Vichar. In this way, Srila Prabhupada was very, very strict, and he also protected Ras Vichar. He was very strict with us. We were never allowed to hear from unauthorized sources. And in so many ways, Srila Prabhupada is following these Goswamis. And he's strictly in the line of this Sampradaya, giving the same message that they have given. And it is so painful to my heart when I see that this message of Srila Prabhupada, that he worked so hard to give, is being distorted now in the name, in Srila Prabhupada's name, I see it go on. And we see two expressions of this that are deviations from the Sampradaya. The first is the rhythmic idea. And this idea is basically that we want, basically they say that Srila Prabhupada is his own tattva. That there is no need of a parampara, or that the parampara, basically the parampara ends here. So what's the use of a parampara if it's going to end here? They, just like there are people that say Muhammad in Islam, they say Muhammad is the seal of the prophets. The seal of the prophets means that the prophets end here. There are no more prophets. And then there's also, after Muhammad, there was another smart guy. His name was Ibn Arabi. He declared himself the seal of the saints. So after Ibn Arabi, there are no more saints. But anyway, they're making Srila Prabhupada the seal of the acharyas. After that, we don't need anybody else. But this is impersonalism. Okay, and one more. The other thing that in which people make Prabhupada deviate from the Sampradaya is saying that the jiva falls from Vaikuntha. In this way, they're making Srila Prabhupada they're making him opposite Anta. That the Bhagavad Gita says that if you going there, you'll never fall down. But they're making Prabhupada say this. So in these ways, these are taking Prabhupada away from the Sampradaya. And
so I first offer the most humble, heartfelt, respectful, grateful obeisances of the lotus feet of my beloved Krishna Guru, my Nitya Krishna, Lord Krishna Paramahamsa, Vrndavan Vilasini and Swami Prabhupad, and the same heartfelt obeisances of the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, my sannyasi Gurudev, Om Krishna Paramahamsa Vrndavan Vilasini and Today is the separation day, the disappearance day of my beloved Guru, Srila Prabhupada. And thinking about this day, so many thoughts have come. And the idea of speaking and trying to glorify and bring something meaningful to this day is overwhelming. I have no qualification. I stand before you as nothing. So I'm going to borrow some words and hope that by speaking them, that some realization will come into my heart. Hearing the words of all the Vaishnavas today, my God brothers and God sisters, I was overwhelmed with a sense of awe at your realizations, at your love. And I wish that tiny spark of that went into my heart as well. But the same feeling yesterday at the disappearance ceremonies, speaking about Srila Bhaktivedanta Bhava Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Chudikar Maharaj, hearing the kind of glorification made by their disciples gave me some understanding of how this process may be done. And it also solidified in my heart the idea that the Acharya, the Guru, must be seen in the light of his teachings and his associates. And one theme that seems very common today in the hearts of many of the devotees, and yesterday as well, was to speak of their Gurudev in terms of who were his nearest and dearest, and what were their qualities. One of my god sisters spoke of Srila Prabhupada as one flower in a beautiful garden. And we might also think as one Manjari in a beautiful creeper, the creeper of Srimati Radhika and all her associates. And so, a couple of years ago, I was also up here, and I tried to glorify Srila Prabhupada in that way, in relationship to his association with Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. But I made a big mistake. I created a drama. There was a pastime that took place between Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj and Prabhupada. They had a beautiful discussion, and in the end, they had a very loving exchange. But I took that and I tried to embellish and create a drama. And to me it sounded very wonderful. And some of the devotees were laughing, but Srila Gurudev immediately called me on it. And he chastised me. And he said, this is not how it happened. It would never have happened like this. Because in this so-called drama, I had created a difference in mood and in heart between Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. And Srila Gurudev said, I am, during the lifetime of my Gurudev, I was like his shadow. And I knew the relationship between Srila Prabhupada, your Prabhupada, and my Gurudev. They were like one soul, so close and so dear. And I felt terrible. But in that chastisement, I thought, there's a lesson here. When Guru chastises, there's always a lesson. And he's doing it out of great compassion. So it made me think. And over the years, I've tried to understand my Prabhupada through his association with Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj. And what was the life of Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj like? And how were he and Srila Prabhupada so similar? And then it made me think that actually they're both coming from the root, from the tree of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And what is it they had in common? That from the beginning, from the very first meeting with their Guru, they had a lifelong attachment, an eternal attachment. And both of them from the first meeting took the instruction of their Guru as their life and soul. And in their own ways, began to follow and try to fulfill that order. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj immediately joined them up. And his history is well known for those in this Sangha. His untiring efforts to promote the teachings of Goudiya Vaishnavism under the direction of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and after the disappearance of his own Guru, his determination to revitalize the publishing, the printing of magazines, the fierce opposition to Mayavad, and the untiring preaching throughout all of India, and the preservation of Goudiya Vedanta Tattva. This Bhakti Vedanta conception that was so lovingly and beautifully revealed through Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. His efforts were legendary, and his results are seen through his beautiful flower-like disciples. Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Chudikar Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. And my Gurudev, his path appeared a little different, in that he lived the life of a householder. But in that life, he set an example. Srila Prabhupada appeared, and in the eyes of many, he was an acharya for maybe 10 or 12 years. But actually, he was an acharya for his entire life. From the time he was a little boy of 4 years old, he was performing Rath Yatra, collecting bhiksha and donations, and engaging his entire neighborhood in the worship of Lord Jagannath, as performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. From the first time he received instruction from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he took this into his heart, and it's related by his godbrothers that those who knew him, even before he took initiation, it was almost as if initiation were a formality, because from that day on, he seemed to be chanting 64 rounds. He was known as highly learned in Scripture. He was preaching everywhere to all of his business associates, and he would introduce those associates to the members of the Math, the Goudiya Math. And he established very close and lifelong connections with certain personalities. And at least to my understanding and vision, that closest connection had to have been with Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. Why? Because we hear that in one's progressive development of bhakti, the element of sadhu sangha is paramount. But not just any sadhu sangha. You have to seek sadhu sangha that is affectionate and also in the same mood. What does that mood mean? It doesn't mean you both like sports or that you have the same kind of material tastes. It means the deep-set mood in your eternal form, in your eternal state of salute. And Srila Prabhupada was so closely aligned with Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj that he ultimately requested that he give him sannyas. This is not something to be taken lightly. Sannyas is not a formality. Sannyas is where that personality will connect you with your eternal relation with Radha and Krishna. And he gives you the seed of that mantra, or that relationship, in the form of special sannyas mantra. And Srila Prabhupada and Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj had that kind of connection. From the very beginning, after the separation of the Gaudiya Math, Srila Prabhupada aligned himself with Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj. They preached together. They lived together. They were together in Allahabad for over 6 months. And every day and every night they spoke deeply on the topics of Harikatha in a way that we cannot conceive. And then when Srila Bhaktivedanta Keshav Maharaj established his Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti, Srila Prabhupada was one of the founding members, one of 3 members. How close is that? That same Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti endures even to this day. And it is established, the mood and spirit of that Samiti is alive and present in the form of our own Srila Gurudev now. I'm finishing here. So, the result of that chastisement was that I wanted to understand and go deeper into seeing the connection and who Srila Prabhupada really is and what is his real mission. And I realized that I don't know Prabhupada, but Srila Gurudev knows him. And if I can align myself and serve him in a humble and heartfelt way, in the same way, this was his first instruction to me. He said that I want that you should love and serve me in the way that you did your Prabhupada. And I've tried my best, although stumbling, to accept that order. And I beg that for the rest of my life, you stay with me, you allow me a place at your lotus feet, allow me to be just part of it, and somehow fulfill his mission, which is not different from your mission, not different from the mission of your Gurudev, the mission of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thank you so much.
Prabhu. First of all, I offer my unlimited obeisances unto my eternal spiritual master, Nityalila, the tradition of Om Vishnupada, Paramahansa, Parvajana Sattva, Shishimad Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada. And the same unlimited obeisances unto my Siksha Guru, Om Vishnupada, Paramahansa, Parvajana Sattva, Shishimad Bhaktivedanta, Srila Narayana Maharaj. I was thinking I might get out of speaking, but here I am. And by His grace, I'm able to glorify our pure devotee, spiritual master. It's, I'm thinking also that really only another pure devotee could actually properly glorify a pure devotee. A condition so like myself is very difficult after being conditioned millions of lifetimes, but by the order, by the grace of the spiritual master, make the impossible to be possible. I was also thinking how I would like to glorify my spiritual master. And I was thinking of this story 5,000 years ago when in the Rajasuya sacrifice, they were trying to decide who should be worshipped first, and even all the greatest personalities were there, including Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and all the demigods, and Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. And one junior devotee stood up, Sahadev, and he spoke as if he had millions of tongues glorifying Lord Krishna. So in that way, I would like to glorify Srila Prabhupada. And as if he was so great, it is said that if one could count the atoms of the universe, one could count the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I'm thinking in the same way, the pure devotee coming, the Nitya Siddha, who is coming from the Supreme World, if one could count his glories, it would be like counting the atoms of the universe. It's quite unlimited. Srila Prabhupada, in every way, he was unbelievable. It's also said he is Guru Deva, the sum total of all the demigods. There are 33 million principal demigods controlling everything, and all their qualities are fractional parts of the Supreme Lord. So in the same way, Gurudev, he has all of those qualities in full, because he is not from the material world. He is not controlled by the three ropes of Maya, goodness, passion, and ignorance. He is beyond these things. Everyone in this material world are like his children, because he is completely free. He has never known conditioning. He has never known nothing since time immemorial. Just like we've never known anything but condition. He's never known anything but Radha and Krishna. Their activities are real anivilasa, sikas, sunyam, dhyana, karmani, anavritam. They are that person. They know nothing but service to Krishna. They are always kind, always very sweet. They're telling us, if you want to advance very quickly in Krishna consciousness, worship Guru and Gauranga with love and affection. We have heard that Srila Prabhupada was raised by his father from the very beginning of his life. His father, he said, was a pure devotee also. Shimohande Charan. In this way, he worshipped Radha Krishna from the beginning of his life. Like the last one said, he was also worshipped, carried on Ratha Yatra at 4 or 5 years old on the street, engaged everyone. He was always perfect, just like also the song Madhurastikam. Everything he did was sweet, just like Shri Krishna. Everything is sweet about him. His walk is sweet, his talk is sweet, his chastising is sweet. this way. Also, I don't know if it was mentioned before, but on this freighter ship, the Jaladuta, coming across actually through the Atlantic Ocean to New York, the Atlantic Ocean is very, on a freighter ship, an Indian freighter ship, you can imagine how opulent that was. In the Atlantic Ocean, the waves are an average of about 20 feet high all the time. And so it's just charging through the waves like this. And he had more than one heart attack on this great journey. And at one point he prayed to Krishna that he wouldn't be able to go on if it was like this. And Krishna, in a dream, came up in a rowboat and said he would help. He would make everything nice. And then, from then on, the next day, the ocean became unbelievably calm. And he continued the journey. So much so that the captain of the ship said, I have never seen the Atlantic Ocean become so calm. He arrived in New York with 40 rupees. And in 8 years, the movement was worth more 40 crores of rupees. It grew. Unbelievable. He was more than a Mahabharata. He was an associate of the Supreme Lord in Vrndavan.
I'm like a lame man trying to cross a mountain, or a dumb man trying to speak. But by the mercy of the Acharyas, by the mercy of my spiritual master, even a dumb man can speak eloquent words. I hope I can speak something nicely about Srila Prabhupada as I've been ordered by Srila Goudiya. And all I can think of is when I first met Srila Prabhupada, I was just a teenager. And I was surrounded by many teenagers, just like me. And when we had heard so much about Srila Prabhupada, and in 1972, when I first met him at Vrndavan on Krishna's birthday, Janmashtami, September the 5th, Srila Prabhupada pulled up in this black, shiny limo. I remember when he got out of the car, I was thinking he was going to come out of the car like a 10-foot tall giant, shining and effulgent. We've heard so much about Srila Prabhupada. And I noticed his stature, he seemed small, but he was so shining, so effulgent. You could notice right away his skin, his effulgence. He really did shine. And the devotees were always telling us a story about in New York, how when he was first in New York, walking down the Bowery, this great, nasty neighborhood. And Prabhupada had mentioned once in this room here in Vrndavan in 1976 that he said, in the Bowery, sometimes I would have to step over bums to get out of my room, and people would pass urine. He said, but it didn't bother me. And he had mentioned to us how he had been robbed, how someone had crawled into his room. Actually, it was a set-up job, he said, because they didn't climb over the window vents, over the door to climb in and steal his typewriter and his equipment. They said, but luckily they didn't steal the Srimad Bhagavatam, which he had dedicated everything to giving us. To giving us the books. And he impressed on us so much that he said, I have made you all fortunate. He said, so now you take this, you understand what I'm giving you. He said, and then you give it to somebody, you give it down to others. You distribute it. this is what I request. To take what he was given us and actually understand, not just be fanatics. Srila Prabhupada didn't want that any of his disciples to just be crybaby fanatics. The world was full of fanatics. Srila Prabhupada taught us how these devotees are basically arranged in this world in 3 different levels. Now, the devotee on the 3rd level, the bottom level, he sees God in his temple, or he sees God in his religion, and he sees no other gods, no respect at all. Nata bhaktishu chanyeshu. He gives no respect to other people, just to his own personal idea or conception of what is God, or his personal religion. Srila Prabhupada told us not to be like this, that we had to be, at least, we had to climb to the level of Madhyam, instead of Kanishta, which was the lower level, the level of Madhyam, middle level. So he said Krishna will pick you up to that level. But we need to get to that level, and you can see the world today, the problems in this world are so exacerbated by this sectarianism and party feeling. Everyone's thinking that, oh, my Allah is the only God. Everyone else is something lower. You should bow your head and let me chop it off. This is what they do in the Philippines. They give you when the Muslims come to preach in their village, they give you an opportunity to surrender and convert. Or sometimes they chop your head off. Or sometimes they never find your body and find out what they did to you. But this is what's going on. It's going on all over the world. And it's not just the Muslims who are doing it. Now as Christians, some people, we call ourselves Christians. Srila Prabhupada said, actually, we believe in the teachings of Christ. Christ taught, love God with your whole heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. This is our philosophy. But now we can see in the world, in the name of Christianity, especially fundamentalism, we're thinking that our God is the only God, and we have rights to drop 500-pound bombs on villages of people who don't accept our way of thinking. So Srila Prabhupada taught us that all these different religions and different philosophies are all basically one. The God is one. Guru is one. This is what Srila Prabhupada taught us. And he taught that if we surrendered unto his lotus feet, our line of acharyas, to Sri Krishna, Gaurava Vigraham Mande, Gaurangam Gaura Vaibhavam, Gaura Sankirtanam Matam, Gaura Karunya Sundar. That was a sloka of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That the form of Lord Chaitanya, this glorious form of Lord Chaitanya called Gaura Saraswati. She's the Shakti of Gaura Mahaprabhu. She can give us the understanding that how we can understand what is Radha and Krishna. And beyond that, I'm thinking of also how much Srila Prabhupada wanted us to distribute